Hey everybody, I'm David and welcome to part 6 of how to read sheet music for the Ocarina. Today we're going to talk about accidentals, how to read them on the music, and then also how to play them on your Ocarina. But before we get to that point, let's discuss what accidentals are. Now, usually when you hear the word accidentals, people are referring to these symbols that you see down here, that being the flat, the sharp, and the natural. And all they basically do is they raise the pitch that you want to play up a half step or down a half step, or they change it by a semitone. The flat, or what you see down here, which looks like a B or a 6, lowers whatever pitch you want by a half step. On the contrary, the sharp here, which looks like a pound sign or a tic-tac-toe board, raises a pitch by a half step. And then the natural over here, it cancels those out whenever you have whenever you have repeating notes in the staff. Now, how you read those on the music is these will go in front of each pitch. So for example, here we have A, and when you have a flat in front of it, it changes the name to A flat. Here we have a G, it's G, not AG. When we put a sharp in front of it, it changes that to G sharp. Now, how you play those on the ocarina depends on what kind of ocarina that you have. So say, for example, we're using transverse ocarinas. Accidentals are much easier with transverse ocarinas for one reason. There is a little trick that you can do by using your ring finger. This is your magic finger because it controls or plays most of the accidentals for you. So let's say, for example, we're not going to be playing A flat, we're going to be playing A. Pretend that natural is not there. So here's A on the ocarina. To play A flat, you simply lower your right ring finger, your magic finger. And that lowers it by a semitone. And that works with most of the tones in the on the ocarina's range. So like, for example, starting from high C, same thing on a 12-hole ocarina. C, B, B flat, A flat, G, G flat. All I'm doing is lowering my ring finger to get those flats. Now, for sharps, it's kind of the opposite, or it's not so much opposite, it's just a little bit different. You're still using the ring finger, but instead of lowering to get that semitone, you're going to be exchanging whatever last finger you have down as the next position in the scale. And what I mean by that is, here we have G, and you can see that my last finger I have down to play that G is my right ring finger. I'm going to exchange it to play up a sharp, or to sharpen a note, or to play up a semitone with my ring finger. G, exchange this finger for my right ring finger. Same thing for A. If I want to play A sharp, here's A. To play A sharp, I have to exchange this last finger down with my right ring finger. A sharp, A sharp. And that works throughout the scale. So that's how you play the sharps on there. And where the exception with that rule is when you start at D, you need to start using the subhole for 12-hole ocarinas, and then for 10-hole ocarinas, you have to half-hole to play C sharp. So for C sharp on a 12-hole, you have D, C sharp, D flat, D, then cover this the first subhole, then play C, B, B flat, or A sharp. You exchange the subholes. That's how you play all the accidentals on a 12-hole ocarina. If I wanted to repeat these notes, I'll get to that in a second. Let's jump on the 6-hole. 6 holes are a little more complicated. For 6-hole ocarinas, it really depends on the maker for some of these notes. But for the most part, a lot of these fingerings are the same. So what makes this complicated is the cross-fingering pattern of the 12-hole ocarina, or 6-hole ocarina. For the first 5 notes, you have to half hole to get those 2 semitones that are in, the 2 accidentals that are in there. So we have C, then you half hole the first hole, then D, then you cover the baby hole, and then half hole the second hole. That's D sharp or E flat. E, then you have F, and then you just have to memorize these positions. So F, F sharp, then G, G sharp, or A flat, and then you have A, then A sharp or B flat, C. Now this is going to vary by ocarina maker, but I think what most 4 and 6 holes can do is if you exchange the thumb hole for your right index finger, C, C sharp, D, D sharp or E flat. That's no thumbs. Now, where we can also use accidentals is to signify a key, and where you'll see that is at the beginning of a staff. And that just means that every time you see a note on that space or that line that you see the accidental, it's always going to be that way in the key, with an exception. So let's say, for example, we have a flat here. Most musicians will just recognize that as the key of F because F has 1 flat. So anytime that you see a note on that middle line or the B line, that means it's always going to be B flat. So let's say we have A, G, and then a B flat over here, or a B note here. You're just going to assume that that's going to be B flat because of the key signature. The exception to that rule is if you have a natural sign. And the natural sign means it cancels out the key signature or whatever preceding accidental was before that. It's going to be canceled out. So it's going to be a B natural, hence the name natural sign. So this isn't actually a B flat because of the natural. Now it's been naturalized. I don't know if that's actually a word, but that's B natural, and you negate the key signature in that case until the next staff or the next measure. Then it goes back to normal, unless you see another natural sign. So for example, once more, let's say that we have another B right here. Would this be B or B flat in the key of F? If we have a flat at the beginning, would this first B be B flat or not B natural? It's actually B flat because there's no natural sign preceding this note. So it's assumed that this is going to affect this B because there's no natural sign. Then you have G and then B, but it has a natural sign, so that's B natural. So this is B flat because it's paying attention to this key signature. And then this is B natural because this cancels that. If that's complicated, I will link you to something in the description box below that'll explain it a little bit further. But that's basically how accidentals are read in music and how you play them on your ocarina. If you have any questions, please leave a comment below. Don't forget to subscribe so you know when the next tutorial comes out. There'll be some practice music in the description below. And tell your friends if they're interested in learning this stuff as well. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.